Hi there, welcome. So let's just start with this, okay? Hands up if you had no business being an adult. For the last couple of years of adulting, you really didn't feel like an adult. Yeah? Yes, you. Put your hand up, right? So the last few years of adulting for me have been insanely educative. But the one thing at least they've made me realize is that I had no business being an adult in the first place. I was walking around, they gave me an ID at 18 and they told me, go, now you're an adult. You can be charged for a crime, you can do a prison sentence as an adult, you now have responsibility for every single one of your actions. But were we really prepared to be adult? So this video is just about three things I consider common sense, but we all know common sense isn't very common. So in this video, I'm going to tackle three amazing pillars of healthy, emotional human beings, right? They help us just be healthy, emotional, social people. So in this video, I tackle three important things that I think we should all know as adults. We should walk around knowing, and we should not be released into the world without knowing. But either way, it could help any and every person. So if you're a young person who's watching this, these are three things you need to know before you even begin adulting. And if you're already an adult, I guess we learn along the way. Okay, so let's get started, and welcome. Hi there, my name is Eunice Mukimba. Welcome to Pink Amazon Therapy. I'm a life coach, I am a counselor, and I'm an all-round healer. In this channel, we basically just tackle educational stuff, informative stuff, and most importantly, positive vibes. Okay, so definitely subscribe to this channel so you could get aware every single time I have a new video up. Click the notification bell. As well, give me a like and a thumbs up. Also leave a comment. I would like to know, what are your thoughts at the end of the day? What has the video that you've watched helped you with, right? Also share it with a friend. Sharing is caring, and we definitely need to have as many people watching this. Positivity is important, and let's let everybody get to enjoy this. All right, thank you. So let's begin. So like I said, I had no business being an adult. At 18, they issued me an ID and I was very excited. I could do all the things that I thought I always wanted to do. But as I grew older, I realized there was a lot of things that I was completely unaware of. This most important pillars of being an amazing social person and a healthy person who can be able to cultivate other healthy relationships, they've been divided into three things. There is emotional intelligence, there's mutuality, and there's insight. So for emotional intelligence, what is emotional intelligence? It could also be considered as social competence, romantic competence. Somebody with emotional intelligence should be the only person getting into any type of adult relationship. And I'm talking about friends, I'm talking about romantic relationships, I'm talking all types of relationships. Emotional intelligence, okay? What are your feelings, right? Do you have control of these feelings? Can you articulate these feelings? Okay? And how do you respond when you experience these feelings? Okay. An example of emotional intelligence is our ability to take responsibility for how we feel. If something insensitive is said to us, okay, how does that make us feel? Does it make us feel insecure, afraid, hurt? Yes. And then once we're able to respond, we're able to understand these feelings, we are also able to respond in kind. And we also understand that we are responsible for our own feelings. That is the first and most important thing about emotional intelligence, our responsibility for our feelings. And what do we do when we experience these feelings, right? Do we feel the need to communicate these feelings to the people around us? And that it comes the articulation of our feelings. Are we articulating our feelings right? Okay. So an emotional competent person is able to have very healthy situations around them because they're able to tell us exactly how they are feeling. They're able to respond in kind, okay? They're able to also take responsibility for exactly how they're feeling, also realizing that nobody else is responsible for our feelings apart from ourselves. So we don't tend to blame anybody for how we feel. We take responsibility, and taking that personal responsibility also allows us to heal very quickly. Yeah, because if we can control how we feel, right? I know there's a tendency to say that I have no control over how I feel, but we do. We do actually have control over our feelings. Lack of emotional intelligence does have its deterrents, and this is what we're trying to prevent. It would prevent domestic abuse, it would prevent physical, mental, whatever types of abuse that exists outside there. It also would prevent outbursts and tantrums. It's really surprising to find out that even as adults, we are capable of a tantrum, and a lot of us do have emotional outbursts. And it will also definitely, being emotionally intelligent will stop you from having to blame other people and also carrying around resentment, because resentment is as a result of blame. Mutuality. What value do you add to this earth? Why are you here? Okay. Mutuality allows us not just to look at what other people can do for us in a very entitled way, but also ask ourselves the question, what can we do for these people? What can we do for the community outside? Why were we created? Were we created to be served, or were we created to be able to equally give out what is given to us? Mutuality will allow us to live in a world void of manipulation, because manipulation is the selfish person's way of getting everything they want from people without giving anything in return. And it will also allow us to stop codependency. And codependency is giving and giving and giving without necessarily knowing what we should be expecting in return. So mutuality is something we definitely need to check on, and we definitely need to learn a lot more about. And you should ask yourself these questions. What are the value that what is the value that I'm adding to the people around me? What is my reason for waking up in the morning? Is it for people to do things for me and I'm not doing anything for them in return? It prevents entitlement, because entitlement is, oh gosh, millennials, Gen Zs, it's our biggest problem. We are always entitled to everything. We're entitled to rights, we're entitled to our opinion, we're entitled and entitled and entitled, but we are not necessarily asking what is it that we are giving out, what value is it, because we walk into this world and we open our hands and we're asking and we're asking and we're asking to be given and given and given, and we are not giving anything in return. And obviously relationships, whatever form of them, romantic relationships, friendships, they need to have an aspect of mutuality in them. There needs to be a balance of what I am receiving and what I am given. Our final one is insight. Insight is really important. And again, I know these things sound like common sense, right? But when we really think about them, how many of us are really utilizing this skills? How many of us have sat down and really understood the context of insight? Um, Insight allows us, the most important thing that insight allows us to do is we are able to tell what are we needing from people, what are our expectations from people, what do we expect people to do for us, right? And also, what are we unwilling to stand for? Because once we know what we do stand for, once we have a value system comes from insight, okay? We are able to also have things that we cannot do without and things that we cannot stand for, okay? Insight also allows us to understand people at whatever context they are in, whether these people are our friends, our colleagues, strangers, our partners. We are able to see through their upbringing, see through their experiences that they have had, and we are able to understand what they are about. So we are able to respect people at their belief system, right? At the point at which they are, so that we are not expecting things from people that they are unable to give. And there's a lot of frustration in us as just people. We're always frustrated and angry and not content with people around us because either we're allowing people in that circle of friends or a close circle of people where we are asking things and we're expecting things from these people that they cannot give, and then we're frustrated at them, which is very toxic, definitely. And as well, the people that are in this circle, right, whatever we're expecting from them and they're not capable of giving, is that really a fair expectation in the first place? Yeah. So we're able to know first who we can bring into this circle, right? I have this belief system. That's how it works. It starts with a belief system. It starts with a value system. I have this belief system. This is what I stand for. This is what I cannot stand for. Okay? So already that sieves out a bunch of people. Then once we put people into this next category, we know what to expect for them because we've learned them. We've been able to understand them. We are not bleeding people dry and expecting them to do things that they are incapable of. So this is important. Insight, emotional intelligence, and mutuality. Now, share with me, what are your experiences as an adult, right? Do you honestly believe that the person you are was healthy enough and educated enough in terms of these three pillars that I have mentioned to even be allowed to have social relationships? I honestly think these are things that we should teach in schools. They should somehow find their way into an education curriculum because, again, we assume common senses are common, but they're not. They aren't as common as you'd think. Okay? So we could bring these things into our normal everyday education curriculum, and we could allow the next generation of people to be emotionally intelligent, to know about mutuality, to know about insight, to experience and use their insight as often as possible. So by the time these people are engaging in adult situations, they are healthy and there isn't toxicity that's just spreading around. Because the one thing I realized is that a lot of us are toxic, and it's easy to feel like a victim of our previous existence and everybody has wronged us until where we are at. But when we really look into the mirror, we are able to see that there were things that either We learned from previous situations that were very toxic and we allowed to continue. And there were things that we we maybe didn't necessarily remember learning because maybe they were formed from experiences in childhood or they were formed from the way we were brought up. But then we find ourselves as very, very incapable adults. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. Okay? Leave a comment at the end of this video and tell me how helpful this was and what else you would like me to talk about, because at the end of the day I would like to obviously release content that people are interested in. At the end of the day, you know, you could just tell me you like me, you know, like some form of acceptance, and we do seek a little bit of validation from people in a healthy amount, definitely. But at the end of the day, share this with a friend. These are conversations we should be having. I'm very proudful about the fact that most of us are very open and ready to learn and ready to heal from the types of trauma that we experienced as young people and as children. And we're trying not to bring them into our situations, we're trying not to spread them to our children. As for me personally, I am definitely going to share this information with my kids. I do not want them going into the world unprepared. Anything that I have learned so far, I want them to have learned it before it's too late. Or, again, even for us who have already grown up, it's not too late to learn something new. Learn about mutuality, learn about emotional intelligence, learn about insight, okay? We're trying to live every single day purposefully and we're trying to enjoy every single day purposefully, okay? Bye.